I hear that you have this perspective out of care for children. You believe that youth are going to be in danger by going through these programs, that they are being,
Not danger, no.
okay, well, harmed.
Yes.
Okay. So you think that kids are going to be harmed by following practices and promotions of social emotional learning and anti racism and critical race theory.
Yes.
And so
I think they're going to grow up very angry. They're going to grow up very disconnected. They're going to be very depressed. I mean, those are the biggest ones.
Okay. So you think that
I think we're seeing it. I'm not saying that everything that we're seeing is the result of that. There's other factors involved too, social media, internet, and stuff like that. But when you give kids,
like people literally kill themselves over social media. So like, like kids literally kill themselves over social media. So like, it's interesting to me that, I mean, I think that there's a lot of things that have consequences that we can directly point to and see that are not this. But like, this is definitely to you a major one, which.
Well, yeah, man, you can't grow up thinking that, the way people are and every way the way thing is a result of the way that we choose to organize society. So when you look around you and you see bad things, it's because there's people out there who don't want to fix it, and they could if they didn't want to. So then you start to wonder, why don't they want to do it?
I mean, but is that not like a reality sometimes of our existence?
No, it's not the reality, man.
That can never, what you just described is not something that can exist in reality?
It can, it just doesn't. I mean,
you don't think that exists anywhere in any context?
Man, our world is not structured in a way that everything is fundamentally unfair. Not everything. And beyond that, I didn't say everything is in our control.
You're making these grandiose statements about everything. Nobody else is doing that, but like it's just you. So like, but the point is like, you don't actually believe that there are people in power who could make decisions that benefit the large majority of people, but who don't make those decisions because of corruption, and some of that corruption is related to these legacy systems of power that involve corruption.
No, I'm not saying that there's not anything that's good that doesn't happen due to or that could happen and doesn't due to corruption. Of course there is. I'm saying it's a way of viewing the whole world, not just
no one's asking anyone to view the whole world.
Society. It's the idea that like we're in control of the way everything is. If we wanted to, if we just did things right, no one in the class would step forward when we said, who doesn't have two parents at home.
Right. This is what you keep doing. You keep implicating this secondary aspect of the privilege walk that is imaginary. No one is having
not even really talking to the I know,
but like that part,
outlook that you
that
give
part
everyone,
of it is not what people are promoting.
Everything is an axis of advantage and disadvantage that could be altered if we messed with it. There are some
that part is not. That is
one fair, that are two fine, and there are three. Nothing. You would do so much more damage than good by trying to change them. Like, what if we said some people are way more good looking than other people, and that just leads to so much fundamental unfairness? What are we going to do? Give everybody plastic surgery when they're born? Get it? That's this is reasons like this is why
again you've gone left down a path that the people who are doing this stuff are not going down. So of course you're creating a straw man.
I'm talking
you're trying to cut it down.
General outlook on the world in general.
This is not. This outlook is wrong. You are wrong in your expression of the outlook.
I'm wrong.
Yes,
that's not the way.
This is not. No, correct. You are wrong about it.
How does, for example, a Marxist see the world?
I don't know how a Marxist see the world, but it doesn't matter because it's not related to what we're talking about. It's not related.
Literally what we're talking about.
Maybe that's what you're talking about, but I'm talking about what's going on.
We just said it's a way of seeing the world. I said this far left view of seeing the world is this, and you said no, it's not. And then I just asked you, well, how
I'm not talking about far left. Sorry, I'm not talking about far left. Far left people are almost non-existent. I'm not talking about them. They have no power.
This is made for far left people, by left people,
No.
for the purpose of turning people into the far left people because they felt the norms of society keep people from turning into far left people, which is the true way you need to be if you want to see what's really going on so you can make things the way they're supposed to be.
That's all made
what
up.
the left, that's what the Marxist worldview was.
Okay, but
Paulo
that's all made
Freire
up, like in
was
terms
a
of what we're
Marxist.
talking about.
The problem that Paulo Freire saw was society keeps people from deciding to be Marxist, and he realized, like all cult and religion people do, it's a little easier if you get them when you're young. How can we mess with education so we're not just teaching kids to grow up and function in this society, which is fundamentally unfair? We want them to fucking realize that this society's got to go. So instead of teaching them what they need to know to get by and whatever in this society, we teach them to see all the problems with this freaking society and why it needs to go. And that's part of what a privilege walk is. It says, look at this society we've made where someone's got it so much better than someone else. Someone out there's got this. This is ridiculous. And here's why. And your job is to be politically motivated. Kids were not politically motivated. Why should they be? You're trying to, it's the whole operation is to turn them into political pawns and just got to get at them younger and younger and younger because it's more important. And then people who believe this and read Pedagogy of the Oppressed and agree with that get into positions where you're making curriculum, you're sitting down making decisions of when we're teaching kids, what are we really trying to do here? We're not trying to make it so they can pass tests and stuff, obviously. We're trying to make it so they realize how unfair the world is and how important it is if they grow up to do something about it in the way that we think. And that is just not anything that anyone except a very far leftist is ever going to agree with, which is why I found it surprising when I described it that way. And you're like, yeah, that is pretty much it. People realize that this is a very unpopular worldview. Like the average American has no idea.
It's not even a worldview. Like you're just like kind of saying stuff.
Scholar on education is Paulo Freire and who he was and what he was trying to do. They'd be like, holy shit, they really are trying to turn our kids into communists. And holy shit, they really are trying to turn our kids into communists. And that, if that wasn't bad enough, it also makes them miserable, horrible, impossible to deal with, and all these other things. And the fact that Nazis don't like black people and Jews is not a reason to pump the brakes on stopping what's going on. It's just not.
Okay, brother. Well, you just said a lot of BS, and like, there's so much in there. There's so much you're literally just making stuff up. So it's just.
I didn't make any of that up.
I know you feel like you didn't make any of that up, but like you have no evidence.
I didn't make
you have literally no evidence for anything you just said. And so like, it's just very,
because I'm sitting in a chair in my kitchen at 10 o'clock at night, man.
No, that's not why. But it's okay. Listen, you did share it. Everybody heard you. You're on, and so you've got your point of view out. I do acknowledge that other people have your point of view. I don't think that your point of view is whatsoever supported by evidence. Your point of view is feelings. It's about feelings. And like, it's about how you feel about what people should think and shouldn't think. And like, you're not qualified to decide. Thanks for watching. For access to the full-length conversation and all of the 2-hour-long unedited conversations that I've had on race, click the support link in the description below. Thanks for your support and see you next time.